Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes. Regular council meeting for Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, 5:30 PM on the Zoom platform.
The regular council meeting is called to order. Please quiet all cell phones and other portable devices not in use to record this meeting. Please limit your responses to the allotted time in the beginning and at the end of the meeting. To speak in the meeting, the public is required to state clearly their names, addresses, and adhere to all rules of the meeting. Loud, unruly outbursts shall not be tolerated, and if necessary, your microphone will be muted by the clerks. All social distancing rules shall be followed, and all persons shall wear a mask at all times when a space has more than one person in a room for this meeting. Thank you, clerks. Please call the roll.
Counselor Stevenson,
Present.
Counselor Gowdy,
Present.
Counselor Martin,
Present.
Counselor Austin,
Present.
Counselor Smith,
I'm present, but I just want to say for the record that regular council meetings are the first and the third Tuesday of the month. This has to be labeled as a special council meeting. This is not a regular council meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
okay. We have remarks on, from the
You
public.
forgot to call Counselor Martin.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You didn't call me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Counselor
That's
Martin,
that's okay. Can you hear me, Victoria?
I can hear you.
Okay, maybe you need to change it to a special council meeting because Mr. Smith is right. It's not a regular council meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, good sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
We had a second on that by Counselor Austin.
It wasn't a proper motion, but we can make a motion to make it a special council meeting. And at this time, I'd like to make that motion. I'd like to make a motion to make this council meeting a special council meeting as opposed to a regular council meeting.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes, I just like to say that I put it in writing through email. Yes, it's in writing.
What's in writing?
Thank you.
Madam Clerk,
Yes.
this Esmeralda's IPH, did she acknowledge you and let her know who she was or he was, whoever it is?
Want to call a roll too?
Excuse me? Don't we have a motion on the floor?
We do.
Yes.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion?
We trying to make sure.
Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith.
Yay.
The motion to make this council meeting a special council meeting has passed.
I would like to make a motion to vote.
Madam Clerk,
Rule
Mr.
9.
before you do that, I got a point of order here.
Ms. Gowdy, Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Martin, please hold. Please
All right.
hold.
I would like to make a motion to invoke Rule 9.
I second that motion. I second the motion, Madam Clerk.
Any discussion?
Please, I'd like the Councilwoman Gowdy to express her reasoning for evoking Rule 9.
It's just some small adjustments just need to be made to this agenda.
Can you please share those adjustments at the time you're making your motion, please, madam?
adjustments to change the order of business.
To, from this to what?
The
Hello?
changing of order of business is a general
She can't answer for
situation.
herself.
Is
She
it,
can't
is it Ms. Gowdy?
She
It's
can't
a
answer for
general
herself.
description.
I just want to know from putting the last item first to what are you changing from this agenda to what? That's what I'm, what agenda, what items are
You're
being
right, you're right, you're right, Mr. Counselor Austin.
I was actually using that as an example, and I'm asking if that is indeed what is taking place.
We just need to waive the 24-hour rule. That's why.
Oh, that's different, ain't it?
That's one of the reasons.
That's a valid reason since we changed it from a regular council meeting to a special council meeting. I think that's valid.
Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, and as long as this rule is invoked, we can make changes as we go along.
But as a body, it would be effective for me to know what, if any, changes will be made. This agreement to make changes, I guess that's kind of vague, and I was asking for some specificity to your request. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, clerk, can you call the roll?
Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Yay, we need some training on that though, so we can kind of understand that there's a need to know. some of the-
Counselor Austin, we're in the middle of a vote.
is that yay, Counselor Austin?
That was a yay, thank you.
Sure. And Counselor Smith? Counselor Smith?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yay.
Okay,
Madam Clerk,
yes.
at the beginning of the meeting, you said the people have to announce who they are, and has that happened to, has anyone announced to you? I keep seeing his name, Ismarada IPH. Who is that?
Yes, because we don't want to get hacked again.
Yeah, that's why I raised that, Madam Victoria. So
Okay,
did this Ismarada, whoever whoever she is, did she acknowledge that she's on the meeting through you?
no, I did not make a statement for that people would announce who they are. I am notating who I am admitting into the meeting.
Okay, so have you admitted anyone else in the meeting besides the 5 council people?
Yes, Mimi McD, Brian Coster, Drew, Irby, Inject,
Clerk,
yes.
Mr. Martin, there's 20 other people in this meeting.
Or
If
why
you
don't I?
go,
I
if
don't
you
see.
go to the bottom of your screen, it says participants, 20, click on it. You'll be able to see everybody that's here. I would like to move forward. I don't want to spend a lot of time.
You can be
I
on.
have a situation I've got to deal with, so I'd like to move the agenda.
Okay, I'm scrolling down.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
That's weird.
Okay,
Why you not on mute?
Let's move on.
let's go.
Okay, so the motion to invoke Rule 9 is passed. Next, we have remarks from the public on agenda items, 2 minutes.
Clerk,
Yeah.
clerk, the rule 9 is to go straight to legislation.
And could you move the agenda up?
Don't you have
Yeah.
to specify what you're doing? When you say evoke rule 9, it doesn't automatically say do this. You have to say what you're changing it for. And I'm trying to get there.
Mr. Austin, I think I answered that.
No, you did
Maybe
not.
you didn't hear me.
Oh, I must have not heard
You
you. 'cause
didn't hear what I said?
I did not. What did you say?
I said that she was changing Rule 9. I mean, she was invoking Rule 9 to change the order of business.
That's exactly what you said? I missed that totally. Okay.
I would just like to know why she couldn't speak for herself.
That's not an issue at this time. Clerk, can we move forward with the agenda?
I'm sitting here with residents and it's a very big issue to them.
Mr. Counselor Smith, we are moving the agenda.
Okay.
If residents have concerns at the end of the meeting, they can speak then.
We're at legislation ordinance number 53-20, Tamia Chapman Law. This is an ordinance to stop all warrantless pursuits, those entering the borders of the municipal corporation of East Cleveland on warrantless pursuits from another municipal corporation whose legislative authority has not entered an agreement with the city of East Cleveland pursuant to RC 2935.03. This is requested and sponsored by Juanita Gowdy, Vice President. This is a second read.
Yes, with this warrantless pursuit, we know that it's a lot of work needs to be done at this time, but we getting ready to move on it now because it's, we definitely have to do something now with it. Somebody just died the other day because of a police chase again, and we have to act on this now.
Madam
Is there
Chairman,
any discussion?
yeah,
Go ahead, Mr. Martin.
I feel the intent of Councilwoman Juanita Gowdy, but what must take place, and this could be a start, we have to meet, we have to bring the police chiefs of Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, Euclid, and maybe Bradnall, those are just the municipalities that surround us, and then they have to all be on the same page. So if we're chasing someone in the Bradnall, we're chasing someone in Cleveland, that the dispatchers know to notify. So my concern, I know what the intent is, that the intent is good, but if we don't have the other municipalities that surround us, I don't know how effective it would be. That's an objective opinion. Thank you.
Can I have
Is there any other
comment
discussion on
also?
the floor?
Yes, yes, Councilman Austin.
Go ahead, Counselor Austin.
Great. We also discussed actually getting together and building the right platform by which we can actually have a consensus, as Councilor Martin said, with our neighbors, as well as make sure that the document that the police chief has already provided to us reflects the intent of where we're going as a council body. So those two items can line up, so we don't have to, I guess I can say, compete and or be contrary to the intent of the chief of police, who's responsible for providing a measure of safety and security to our residents. Thank you.
Councilman Austin, what the police chief is doing right now, and you know through past the years and what's happening right now in our city, is not working. So I would like to move on this.
I have a comment and a point.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes, Madam
King.
Chairwoman. Thank you. How's everybody tonight? I understand that you changed the agenda. I would, however, like to state into the record legal opinion that I will make available to anyone on the call. It is going out to council. It is in regards to Rule 8.
Mayor
Which is
King,
in the city charter.
point of order, Mayor King.
This piece
Point
of
of order.
legislation-
We are
Okay.
in the middle, I'm sorry, but we
And I'm
are in the
commenting-
middle of voting on a piece of
And
legislation.
I'm commenting directly on this piece of legislation. This legislation, according to Rule 8 of the charter, did not come through the proper channels and was not submitted properly. And therefore, it is not a recognized piece of legislation. I will make this available to anyone.
Thank you for that, Mayor King.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Have another
Clerk, call
note.
the roll.
Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Nay.
Counselor Smith,
We wasn't done with discussion, but, cause I want to know why didn't it go through the proper channels?
Counselor Smith, why doesn't anything go through the proper channels in the city of East Cleveland?
Or,
I don't
or,
think that
That's
this
the
is
wrong person
not
at
the
the
proper
helm.
forum to discuss that. We are here to vote on legislation.
This
Can
is-
we
this
please
is
do that?
discussion.
If you
Or
want to
I'm
have a
asking-
conversation after, I'm more than willing to do that with
No,
you
I
and
can't
other
vote.
council.
I can't vote like that. Or the mayor might be wrong. Did council go through the proper channels? That's all I'm asking. Did we go
Yes,
through the
we
proper
did.
channels?
Yes, we
I
did.
can answer that if you'd like, counsel.
Can I
Please,
help with that also?
Counselor Smith, we are in the middle of voting on legislation.
You
Because
didn't
you
give us
cut
a
the
chance.
discussion
to
That is
finish
short.
where we are
discussion.
headed. I am sorry if you or the mayor made his point. Okay? We all have to accept what he said. But
What
we're
I'm
in the
saying,
middle of a
excuse-
vote here.
What I'm saying doesn't have anything to do with what Mayor King was saying. When you asked for, is there any more discussion, you went real quick to the vote. You didn't give us a chance to finish our discussion. That's all I'm saying. My point has nothing to do with the mayor. As you stated in the past, and I agree, if I don't have all the information, how can I vote? So I just need to know if this went through the proper process, or again, the mayor might be wrong and we might win, and the council might went through the proper process. I'm just asking, did we go through the proper process so I could vote accordingly? That's it. That's all I'm asking.
It all depends on whose process you wanna listen to. I mean, if you
asking
wanna
you.
listen to the
Stevenson.
charter's process, the mayor's
I'm-
process,
I'm
you
asking
Councilwoman
know,
you,
Stevenson.
we could be
Corinne.
here all night, Mr. Smith, is my point.
That's fine
Councilor,
with
We could
me.
be
yes.
here all night long going
That's
through
fine with
this, and
me.
that's not why we are
That's
here.
That's
We are
fine with
here
me. For
to
the people, we
decide.
could be here until tomorrow. For the people, we could be here until
No,
tomorrow.
we can't be
I'm
here till
asking you.
tomorrow, Mr.
I'm not
Smith. That's
asking-
my point.
I'm not asking Mayor King. I'm
Hey,
asking
can I
Corinne
make a note?
Stevenson. I'm asking you. I'm
As
asking
far as
you.
Stevenson.
I know, Counselor Smith, are you
As far as I
listening?
know.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
As
you
far as
real
I
well.
know, the council followed proper protocol to address the preparation of an agenda.
No, they
No.
did not.
Hold
Not
on,
legislation.
Councilwoman Stevenson, can I make a note, please?
We've already been through this. He had one more question. Mr. Austin, you had a statement earlier on this matter. Can we move the agenda vote?
The
We're in
situation
the
changed.
middle of a vote.
I want to express the facts. I read the charter myself.
Mr.
It
Austin, you
says
are
that
out of order.
legislation will
You're
come
not
through the law
recognized. We
director.
are not going to
So
hear
if
what
it
you
did
have
not-
to say.
I
We
know
need
because
to
the
finish
facts
the
hurt.
vote. We
Council,
need
I
to
have
finish
the charter
the
and the
vote.
law director.
Point of order.
I have the charter and the law director.
If you are not voting, please be quiet. Thank you.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Clerk,
Is this
please
how it's gonna
finish
go for this
calling the
council?
roll.
Is that all right with the rest of this council? Because if having one person.
It's
express
not
such
about how
theory
it's gonna go, Mr. Austin. Can we get finished with the
totally unacceptable.
legislation?
He did.
There's a lot of things in East Cleveland that are
Don't keep on
unacceptable.
saying East Cleveland. Say in your mind. Because it's not the city. The citizens haven't done one thing, type one
Mr.
letter on
Austin,
these documents.
you are
today.
not here. You are not my physician. You are not here in that capacity. You are here in the capacity of an East Cleveland council person. Please act accordingly.
Please look in the mirror and express that to yourself because we.
Clerk,
deserve
can
to
you
have
please
clarity
finish calling the
before we
roll?
move forward. If clarity for our residents is a problem for you, you're in the wrong.
Clerk, can
area
you
of
please
government,
finish
period.
calling the roll?
the last counselor is Counselor Smith.
Nay.
Thank you, Counselor Smith.
Ordinance 53-20 has passed. Next, we have ordinance 02-21, an ordinance to change the name of Hartshorn Avenue to Tamia Chapman Way pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 723.04, change of name, vacating or narrowing streets on petition. This is requested by Juanita Gowdy, Vice President, and also sponsored by Juanita Gowdy, Vice President, co-sponsored by Timothy Austin, Counselor at Large. And this is a second read.
Yeah, this definitely need to go back into committee because I still need to get those letters for this one. But the other one, I got the letters for. Sorry that it's taking so long, but working hard at this, really working hard at this.
Okay,
Clerk, can you add me as a sponsor on this piece of legislation?
yes.
Clerk,
Co-sponsor, I'm sorry.
yeah, add me to that too, Miss Victoria, please.
Okay. Okay, so we have ordinance 02-21 going back into committee. Next, we have ordinance 03-21, an ordinance to change the name of Wellesley Avenue to Shaquille Tyson Way pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 723.04, change of name, vacating, or narrowing streets on petition. This is requested and sponsored by Juanita Gowdy, Vice President, co-sponsored by Timothy Austin, Counselor at Large, and this is a second read.
Hey, can you remove me as a sponsor on this one?
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, you can add me as a co-sponsor, clerk.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can add me also, Victoria.
Okay. Any discussion?
Just one question. Did she get the letters that which requested to change these names to the streets?
Yes, I did. I got the letters.
Okay. And can if I can I find out the process? How long does it take to change the name? Do they have to go out and have special street signs made to change the street? And what do we do to let the people on Wellesley or Shaquille Way, Shaquille Tyson Way, know that the name changed? Because that means they're gonna have to change when they mail stuff up, it's gonna have to change the name on it. That's my question.
I asked the question also.
Maybe the mayor, Madam President, maybe the mayor can respond to this.
At your pleasure, if you'd like me to, I'm here.
Go ahead, Mayor King.
Yes, thank you. So as a point of order and clarity, this ordinance also did not follow the proper procedure. Rule 8 of the city charter, in which I'll be more than happy to read into the record and or provide to anyone on the call at any time. I have the charter and the law director here with me.
Please do.
Rule 8.
So is it, Mayor King? We're not reading that into the record today, but is it your intent to object to each and every piece of legislation that is on this agenda?
So Council President, based on Rule 8, it is my intent, and based on Rule 9, which you guys invoked at the beginning of the meeting, I had planned on making a statement then and reading it in the record, but since you changed the agenda and went straight to legislation, I wasn't afforded that opportunity. So now I have to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor King.
I still love to read it into the record.
Not at this time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I would like to know if the document that we are moving on has been provided to the building and housing so they can, obviously do what they have to do to recognize the street, the intent to change the name of that particular street, as well as making it to the law department so that the law director can put the correct language and make sure we do it right by according to what the charter would ask us to do and recognize the law director's responsibility in this piece of legislation.
Ms. Gowdy? Thank you, Counselor Austin. Counselor Gowdy,
Yes, it's
this is a process, I understand. What phase of this process are you in? Are you in the beginning of the process, or where are you?
we are at the very end of this process. Like I said, because I never seen.
You're fading in and out.
Have you ever seen Willa ever type up contracts before? I do not want Willa Hemmings near none of my
But Miss,
The charter
okay,
says,
but that's not, I'm trying to address Counselor Austin's question. As far as where you are in this process, what's the next step that you have to take?
There's no laws. There's no law saying that we need to send this to the building department. No law at so.
charter says the law director has a responsibility
And
for
I'm at a
legislation.
vote, and once we vote,
That's all
just
I'm
send it
saying.
up to the mayor.
You got to do it right. We have to encourage each other responsibly. And
Mr.
I'm just trying to
Austin,
encourage you. That's all.
Mr. Austin, you're not recognized. I'm trying to work through this. After we vote on this, Counselor Gowdy, what's the next step?
I want to send it to the mayor so he can send it to the county. Because he definitely have to notify the county, and I want the county to know that we're going to change the name.
So you have to meet with the mayor with regard to changing the document, changing the name, which is the next step.
I would send him the letter and the legislation. Once it passed, we can go on.
Okay. So it does have to go according to what she's stating, Mr. Austin. I believe it has to go upstairs for final approval. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, that's great that it's going upstairs afterwards, but according to the rules of the charter, the legislation has to go through the law director. What's the problem with doing this correctly? I mean, I want to vote for this. I know this young man. I know this family. I want to vote for this, but I can't, but if we are not following the correct policy and procedure, what's the problem with sending it through the right policy and procedure? What's the issue?
Mr. Smith, Counselor Smith.
This is discussion.
Now we could stay here for the rest of the evening discussing policy and who follows policy and who doesn't follow policy and procedure. That's not why we're here. We're here to either vote yay or nay on this piece of legislation.
Once again, you are trying to change the narrative. I'm trying to get an answer for these residents that are right here. A straightforward answer.
I asked the question, is there any discussion? I'm not changing anything.
Why didn't council go through the proper channels before we have this legislation in front of us? It's real simple. Legislation goes through the law director to come in front of. It's real simple. It's simple.
It ain't simple. It's shit. Ooh, Jesus.
Who was that?
Is there any other discussion?
No answer. No answer for the people. Thank you. They hear you. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin.
Hey,
Is that a nay, sir?
correct.
Okay, and Counselor Smith? Counselor Smith?
Abstain, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Ordinance number 0321 has passed. Okay,
Madam Clerk,
yes.
is that all the legislation for this evening?
No, there's not. The
Okay.
regular-
Pull my up to the next one. I don't see it on my screen. Thank you.
Sorry, here you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. The regular council meeting, can we get a motion to adjourn the regular council meeting for the purpose of a public hearing?
I move that we adjourn the council meeting for February 9th, 2021 to have a public hearing on the budget. Is that what the public hearing is for?
Yes.
Yes,
finish the
that's my
legislation.
motion.
I second it. Call the roll, please,
Counselor,
unless there any discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss a few things that were of concern to me. Before you make this motion,
Madam President, as you recognize Councilman Ossom.
hello?
I don't know if she's there right now. I
I'm
see.
sorry, I was muted. I passed
right.
the gavel to Ms. Gowdy, to Counselor Gowdy. Counselor Gowdy, you have to recognize Counselor
Okay.
Austin.
Madam President,
Yeah, I'll call you.
ordinance bear your name. What is your pleasure?
Okay.
We have some discussion? Or, yeah, we could. I
This
don't know
is
what
all
the-
we're doing. We need a motion. We're not there yet, Ms. Gowdy. This is just to open a public hearing. You have a motion on the floor to open the
Okay,
public hearing.
I recognize Councilman Austin.
And when I read beyond the preamble for a few of these budget pieces of legislation, prior to moving on with them, it talked about having the administration 3 weeks prior request for expenditures from the professional services line number. And based on the use of the professional services line number, we read through the narratives and we understood from the court. They said, well, if somebody gets in trouble, we have to hire a public defender to defend the person that got in trouble. Based on the lack of information about the number of cases, then they may not have a 3-week window by which those requests would come back before council in a reasonable enough time to allow that person to be fully supported. And I don't know how the pay plan and or pay schedule works for those folks that come into our city to serve as public defenders. And without that information, it is seemingly unreasonable for the council to ask for that notice. And when I took a look at a little bit more information and causative research, if you will, it appeared that the council.
Mr.
has
Austin, wait,
continuously- I thought you were
there's
talking
a
about the
motion
fault.
is there a motion on the floor to open the public hearing?
Yes,
I
yes.
thought we were
Clerk,
talking
is there a
about-
motion on the floor?
You
Yeah.
don't want to acknowledge me because I'm telling you that there's
Yeah.
some
Mr.
injustice.
That's not, sir, there's a
Opportunity
motion
going on?
on the floor to open the public hearing
I
so
thought you
that
said
we
you
can
were-
get to the ordinance.
Okay, well, let's go. I'm
You
ready.
done- all I'm saying is you're jumping the gun.
I'm just saying, I read.
There's a
through
motion on the floor.
Sense to me. Okay, well, just keep on doing it your way because eventually the people gonna recognize what's going on. And I'm okay with it. Go ahead.
Mr. Austin, there's a motion
done.
on the floor
done
that
talking. Thank you.
requires a
Okay.
vote, and you're,
Councilor
got you.
Gowdy asked for discussion,
and
Councilor Corinne. She asked for
okay, but the discussion is on the opening the public hearing. It can't be on the legislation because we haven't voted yet.
Okay, well, again, I wanted to make sure that the agenda that we are leaving is reflective of the issues that were left on the table. So that's all I wanted to do. So there were some issues that were left on the table, and I want to have a discussion about some of the issues that were left on the table. Unless I'm out of order, and if I'm out of order, I respect that, and I will hold my concerns for the opportunity to present itself again. But I just want to make it clear that I read through the information and there's still some problems, and those problems were, you know, the only thing changed with the problem was the color of the problem. The problem still exists. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Gowdy,
Yes,
We call the roll.
yes, call the roll, please.
Well, let me ask, is there any further discussion? Okay, Counselor Stevenson,
yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
This is so we can continue the discussion in a new format, I guess. Yay.
this is to start the public hearing. Motion to open the public hearing.
Public hearing. I'm like, where did public hearing come from?
It's
I
on
don't
the
know.
agenda, Mr. Austin, it's on the agenda, right under this legislation. It says regular council meeting adjourned by motion for the purpose of a public hearing. Motion to open public hearing is called to order. You gotta
Right.
read this stuff, Brother Austin.
I see. And again, we were not finished with legislation. That's what I'm talking about. You made a motion to go and cover the legislation, but you didn't finish covering the legislation before you went back to some other part of the agenda. That's what I'm talking about. Remember that part? We were not finished with legislation.
No, Mr. Austin.
We
Mr.
were finished
Austin,
with
it's
legislation?
required. It is required that you have a public hearing as a result of adopting appropriations for the city and the charter. So that's what we're doing. We are in front of the appropriations legislation.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I'm awake
we
now.
need to
Thank you.
open this public hearing for the purpose of moving forward with the next two pieces of legislation.
Okay, so
It's
thank you very
very
much. for waking
simple.
me up. It ain't that simple, but I got it. Thank you very much. I'm awake now.
So I'm calling the roll. Counselor Austin,
I had one more.
Yes, yes. Yay.
Get your phone, man. Can you hear it? Your phone?
is that a yay, Counselor Austin?
Yay.
Yay. Counselor
Yay.
Smith? Okay, let me go back with this. Counselor Austin, could you state your vote again, please?
Yay.
And Counselor Smith? Counselor Smith?
Do I believe that according to the charter, this process is only acceptable before January?
That is
Counselor
correct.
Smith, Ms. Gowdy,
I believe that according to the charter, this process is only acceptable before January.
we are before January.
We talked about January of last year. January this year, right? Because we're in February now. So,
This is, this,
Nay,
do what you,
nay.
please, thank you.
The motion to open the public hearing has passed.
Madam Clerk, I don't know if you called my name and I stepped away for a second.
I have Stevenson, Gowdy, Martin,
Okay,
and then,
I want to say something before we proceed.
sure.
I'd like for
And
everyone, if I can, Victoria, please, everyone, be patient and respectful to each other. This budget, we've been working on this budget for almost 3 months now, and we need to be clear, and now's the time to answer all the questions. I canceled my meeting this evening so that we can get to this budget and reach some common ground. So please kind of cut back, and let's just focus on this budget. And then I ask and request that all council people ask good questions if there's something they're not sure about. Thank you.
We will now start the open public hearing.
Okay. Just one moment, please. This is a statement I'd like to read into the record. The public hearing is now open for public comment in accordance with the city charter, section 61, which requires that all documents relative to the permanent appropriations be posted for a 10-day period for public comment. The public comment period starts Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, and concludes on Friday, February 19th, 2021. The purpose of this 10-day period is to give the public access to comment on the proposed legislative appropriations. The proposed appropriations may be viewed at one City of East Cleveland website. Web address is https://www.eastcleveland.org. Or number 2, City of East Cleveland Council's Facebook page. Address is https://www.facebook.com/city-of-east-cleveland-office-10414-290-4822-536. Or number 3, City of East Cleveland Council's YouTube channel. Address https://www.youtube.com/UCQKTLFMR-JH-GEL-4C1L3200 guided help flow =5. Comments may be sent via U.S. mail to the East Cleveland City Council at 14350 Euclid Avenue, room 107, East Cleveland, Ohio 441.
It's 14340 Euclid Avenue, clerk.
Yeah, I did not prepare this document, Counselor. 14340 Euclid Avenue, room 107, East Cleveland, Ohio 44112, or via email to vdu@eastclecouncil.org or tupeters@eastclecouncil.org.
People is trying to get into the meeting. Would you please let them in? Thank you.
Certainly let them in.
Where are we, Ms. Gowdy?
Yes, yes. This ordinance bear your name. Madam President, what is your pleasure?
No, you haven't had, clerk, have you called the roll yet?
I have not called the roll.
Please call the roll.
People are saying that they being deleted out the meeting. Please let.
Well, we can't delete people out the meeting. People they can only delete themselves.
I'm showing no one waiting.
I have a question for point of clarity.
Can we call the roll first? And we open the public hearing.
Okay.
Clerk,
Counselor Stevenson,
yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
okay. First, we have ordinance number 1221. This is an ordinance to make permanent appropriations in various funds for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of East Cleveland for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, not to exceed $14,043,989.78 of general fund and $8,101,972.77 of grant funds. This is requested and sponsored by Corinne Stevenson, Finance Committee Chair, Council Vice President, and it is a first read.
Ms. Gowdy, you have the gavel.
Okay,
Uh,
Madam President, this bear your name. What is your pleasure? What is your pleasure?
Well, it's a first read, so it's just an opening introduction to the appropriations required as a result of the fiscal emergency plan.
Time for discussion yet?
Ms. Gowdy,
Okay, call a roll, move on.
Discussion?
Discussion.
there's no roll call.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Yes, there's some discussion.
I have discussion.
Okay. As we take a look at, can I be recognized, Councilwoman Gowdy?
Yes, you can, Councilman Austin.
Great. As I start taking a look at the specifics in this document, and unfortunately, I can't find my the actual piece of legislation, not just the preamble for 1221. And I start looking at some of the line items, and if I could have Councilwoman Stevenson talk about the changes and or adjustments, and whether it's timelines or any specific adjustments in this piece of legislation, I would really appreciate it, so I don't have to repeat myself. As far
Well,
as
I
the
don't have
effort
anything
to-
further to say
You don't? Is there an effort
because
to?
all of the information that I have shared with you all. So
Right, so,
you have
okay,
as
well,
much information as I do.
right, so I read through my pack, and I've been going through a lot of stuff on my line here, so I wanted to save a little time. But to make a long story short, in this ordinance, correct me if I'm incorrect, there is an effort to ask the administration to provide a 3-week notice for expenditures from professional services line number. Is this the piece of legislation that did that? And if that
Go
is the
on.
case, then if that is the case, then that is a overreach from council, because as I explained before, some of the services that are required are a short notice service that has to be rendered to the citizens of this great city. I use the court as an example, saying that if a person gets in trouble, they cannot afford legal representation, a attorney is appointed for them, and that attorney is paid for out of this line item number. So if we make it so that there's a 3-week delay in approving the funds, then oftentimes that may have an impact on who is willing to come provide great service to our residents. That's just one area of impact. And as we provide services that are emergency services, those services would, if I'm not mistaken, if we can't provide those services for ourselves, those emergency services will be paid for out of this lineup. If somebody thinks you're not going to pay them when they finish the work, then you're probably not going to get somebody up on the roof we need. So it is my opinion that once the dollars are approved, let's do the checking on the backside of some of these things that may go wrong. Not saying they have, but I think this is an overreach, and you have to read the small print in this legislation. And I think that the author of this legislation is out of order, and this legislation needs to be modified. And once it's modified, then I have no problem moving forward with this piece of legislation. Thank you.
Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk,
Yes.
can I speak briefly?
You need to ask Ms. Gowdy for permission to speak.
I said,
Yes, you can, Councilman Martin.
I heard what Mr. Austin said, and I thought about this for the last couple of weeks, and this is just a suggestion. I want to thank the administration for providing me 2018, 2019, and 2020 appropriations out of professional line item. It was about 12 pages. And I said that if there seems to be a barrier or something about getting what's being paid out of the professional line item, to me, the practical thing to do, and I hope the other council people are listening, is at the end of every month that the council be provided from the 5 departments in the city of East Cleveland was spent out of professional line items. Some months they may not spend anything, but to cut down on us being informed and us legally being the check and balance as a council, then the caveat I would like to add is that at end of each month, January, February, March, all the way to December, we get a report from the 5 departments, including us and the mayor, what is spent out of professional line item. That way we on top of it and we're not slowing anything down. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Council Vice President.
Yes.
I would like to be recognized. I do have a comment.
Yes, Mayor King.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I would like to echo Councilman Martin and the letter that he wrote, thanking him for asking specifically for something. In your letter, you stated, Councilman Martin, that if the documentation was provided to you, you'd have no problem in moving critical legislation forward. Legislation, the 3 pieces, 2021 permanent appropriations, the transfers, and the 5-year fiscal recovery plan. You've gotten those documentations. I know that you're a man of your word, not just a great Kappa man, but a man of your word. If it will appease council, I would like to read just the first sentence of Rule 8. Assignments of legislation, preparation, temporary number designation, all legislation shall be prepared by the administration as directed and assigned by the mayor and in accordance with form prescribed by the law director. The mayor shall notify the law director of such legislative assignments
Point of order.
as the same
Point of order.
are made.
Point
are
of
same are
order.
made, and the law director, I'm sorry, I thought I was recognized. I'm just reading the first sentence. That's it. Mayor shall notify the law director of such legislative assignments in writing,
Point
and
of
the
order.
same are made, and the law director
Councilor
shall
Gowdy.
promptly-
Yes, I
He has a guy.
Council Vice President, I'm almost done. Shall properly acknowledge such
You
assignments.
said the first sentence,
One more
Mayor.
minute.
You're reading the whole thing. Come on
Right
now.
here, assignments to the mayor and the clerk of council. in
Councilor
writing.
Gowdy.
If you're saying that, I give it back to you. That's all.
1 minute, Mayor, and then we is
Okay.
not gonna get into that because
So 1 minute, I got 10 seconds left. This is the legal opinion from the law director. And because these legislation.
Mayor King,
have here-
Mayor King, we are not hearing the law director's legal opinion. I'm sorry.
I thought I was
No.
given a minute,
She didn't
Council
say she
Vice
was-
President. You're the chair right now.
No, not for that,
Oh, okay.
Arena.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were running a dictatorship. I thought the council vice president was running. the
That's what
meeting.
you run. It's your turn, it's my turn.
I think they've, so the last
Counselor
sentence
Gowdy,
in the mayor's
can you call for
conclusion
this discussion?
says that Rule 8 was not thereby violate
Counselor Gowdy,
the East Cleveland Municipal Code and will not be processed.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you, Council Vice President.
we
Thank you,
definitely.
Council
gonna
President. Thank you,
move on.
Council.
We definitely gonna move. Any more discussion?
clerk, can we move to the next piece of legislation?
I have a question. I have a question. Madam President, I just want to know, I want you to explain to the public out of all the professional services.
What is it? Say that again, please.
I want you to explain to the public why we zero out some of the professional services line items.
Okay. All right, professional services line items were zeroed out and they have a time frame requirement on them because the administration is not bringing contracts before the council. The council is responsible for the appropriation of funds in the city of East Cleveland. Since we have been on the council this past year, I believe we have maybe 10 contracts that have gone, that came through and across the council's desk for approval. On the flip side of that, from 2020, we have 17 pages of descriptions of things that the professional services money was spent on. So 17 pages, 8.5 by 11 does not equate to 10 or 11 contracts. We don't even have an entire contract in a lot of situations. The council is supposed to be the keeper of the records and we don't have records to keep, okay? We don't have the contracts, the money was expended. There's a lot of instances where there was no bids, money was expended, no bids went out, the council was not notified, and specifically, just recently, the CARES Act funds, where in the administration spent $1.785 million, and by the time the council found out about it, the money was gone. So we don't have the luxury at this time. And I've been accused of a lot of things. We don't have the luxury at this time to allow the administration to have $24 million flopping around in the general fund to contract with people, and those contracts, they don't even bring them before the council. The charter states that if the contract is more than $2,500, it is supposed to come before the council. We have spent, I believe the last recollection I saw was $1.8 million in contracts, and they didn't come before the council. So the council has a responsibility here. And if we don't stand up and take on our responsibility, then the citizens in this city need to get rid of us, because it's our responsibility to make sure that the dollars are spent in compliance with whatever the compliance regulations state. If they're grant, the dollars have to be expended in compliance with those grant dollars. If it's general fund money, then the money has to be spent in compliance with general fund regulations. The budget for this city at this time, what you are looking at are figures so that we can keep our staff working while we go through a process of elimination and finding out what is going on with the money. We do not know as a council. There may be a few people here that know, one or two, but the entire council does not have a grip on where this money is going. And that is what is imperative. That is why we are here. We are here to appropriate and legislate. That is our bailiwick. The mayor is responsible for day-to-day operations. In addition to the $1.7 million that was spent, there was also money spent out of the general fund contract that we were notified of in November of 2020 by the chair of the Fiscal Emergency Commission, who told us at that time that the mayor was spending funds that were unapproved, unauthorized, and unappropriated. So this council has to take some steps. They're hard steps. And I personally, I'm retired. I don't have a problem doing work in any vein, but this is a lot of work to have to go through because somebody or an administration fails to follow a charter required process in a home rule city. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's just not we're taking the money from the mayor. No, that's not the case. The case is we have to have some checks and balances on the dollars that are expended in the city of East Cleveland. Thank you.
Can I make a comment, please? Councilman Austin, can I make a comment, please?
Law Director, one second, Councilman Austin. I just need to address this to the Law Director. Is it true that all contracts have to come before council?
No, that absolutely is not true. The state of Ohio law says if it is above $50,000, then it has to come before you. There are things that are expedient, things that don't have formal contracts, things like the ADP, the BCI, university hospitals, things that come up during the course of the day. If you are so ill-advised or ill-conceived that you expect everything is in a formal contract, a lot of things are based on specific performance and have been based on specific performance in the last eon since 1911, when this city was first inaugurated as a city. And to use your inexperience and your misperception about what has to come before council in order to sabotage and hold hostage the services to the city of East Cleveland residents is, I think, very, very ill-advised, incompetent, and almost criminal to allow things to go on without street repairs, without tree removals, without some basic services, because the council is sitting on its throne expecting to be kowtowed to when it is not applicable, when it is overreach, when you don't have the right, you don't have the ability to stop those services in the city. There are expedient things, there are things that have to be done in a city, and to be so narrow-minded and so ill-advised and so misunderstanding of basic municipal finance that you want to wait until we go down in ashes for the waiting on things that don't have to be provided to council. I think that that is not really the way to have a relationship with the administration.
Council Vice President, if I could chime in on the back of that. The document that,
One second, Mayor.
document
Law
that,
Director, Law Director, this is to you again. Are we a home rule city?
Of course, since 1911.
The charter does say $2,500, but it's been a lot of money.
No, the charter, what the charter says is according to Ohio law, Ohio municipal law. If you look at chapter 7 of the Ohio statute, you will see that that is according to the Ohio budget management of the state. And it has risen constantly up to $50,000.
Can I chime in on the back of this?
Excuse me again, and our charter never say up to 50,
The charter doesn't
according to
allow for
Ohio
that.
law.
The charter allows you to spend as much as Euclid, Beechwood, Berea, Brook Park, which is 50,000. Why should East Cleveland not be allowed to have the same rights and advantages as every other state in the state, every other city in the state? You're gonna hold the city hostage because you are too self-centered and focused to allow and
Our
deprive
charter say
the city of
$2,500, and we definitely need
the
a
state
charter
or the
update.
state law,
because it-
or pursuant to state law, or look at the entire sentence. Don't focus on just a piece of it. The citizens deserve the entire picture, which is at this point $50,000 as allowed by the Office of Budget Management for the state.
So Council Vice
I'm
President, can
going
I
to
chime in?
I'm going to let Councilor Austin speak, and then I will let you, Mayor. I promise I will.
Okay, great. Thank you, Councilwoman Yadi. I want to make a couple of quick points. I noticed that the Councilwoman Stevenson said something about the CARES Act funding. That is not professional services. That's a totally different issue. And the CARES Act had, it's like 3 or 4 different packets that the whole council got that talked about the purpose in which CARES Act dollars can be expended. And I shared some of that at the last General Services Administration meeting. And I will share a copy of my packet to whomever is interested in actually finding out what those CARES Act dollars can be spent for, because I really don't want to sit by on the sidelines and let the misnomer be professed as if it is factual, because again, I did read the documents and they do say that the CARES Act dollars can be spent in accordance with what the administration has expressed for police and fire and those that are affected as frontline workers. And that's what the city, to my understanding, has spent those dollars on. So more to follow. And I did go through some information from the Ohio Revised Code and start looking at what the mayor can actually spend, because I do care and this does matter to me. And that number was $50,000 in accordance, and it says something about the mayors in the state. This is their dollar. And I do agree with Councilwoman Gowdy, who said that we need to update our charter. We've been trying to look at getting that charter review commission set up for the last couple of years. And we do need some help to get that squared away. And as I took a look at the 2019 and 2020 documents that Councilman Martin actually went forth ahead of the crew, which I really do appreciate and ask the administration for, and they did provide, and those pages, so that they're not misconstrued as like a multiple entries from all these different concepts. They're payments. These are the payments. So I am a professional and I have a whole lot of properties, and if I could show you how I prepare my taxes, I'm talking about my table is full of papers because of all these payments. So don't be misled, because there were a lot of payments from a whole city. They're going to have a lot of people to help us be well governed, safe and secure, and especially during the winter, providing us the services that we need, because I don't foresee myself being able to get out there and shovel my driveway and the street too. There are some things that I don't want you to be mistaken about. So the Fiscal Commission reviews our documents monthly. The finance director, who's been doing a phenomenal job keeping me informed about what we spent and where we are. And
Are we filibustering here?
No, we're not. I'm just going over my notes, just the same way you did. So if you can be so kind.
This is the same.
It's not. I'm talking about the Fiscal Commission's monthly review. The monthly review that the finance director generates so that the members of council can have a snapshot of where we are financially. And that lets us know periodically what lines have been expended, what lines have been, not expended, and there are resources available for redistribution on a monthly basis. That is a report that Councilor Martin spoke of that is already in existence that we can actually use to keep us a little bit more informed. And I mentioned this to you a couple of months ago, Councilwoman Stevenson, and it was my understanding, you said it was just numbers on a page. And if you don't learn how to read the numbers on the page, then that's all it needs to be. And if you are the chair of finance and you see the transactions that's still numbers on the page at this point after a year, I'm not the problem. Thank you, and that's all I have.
And Councilwoman, Vice President.
Mr. Mayor, you have the floor now.
Okay.
Thank you. The law director did want to read this to you.
Okay, section 72, contracts of the charter states.
The
mayor
law
may make
director have
any
not been
contract-
recognized, Mr. Mayor.
He deferred his time to me.
Now
Okay.
you are recognized now, Ms. Law Director.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Gowdy. Okay, section 72, contracts of the charter. The mayor may make any contract or purchase supplies or material or provide labor for any work in any department not involving more than $2,500 or the amount stipulated by state law, whichever amount is the greater. And that's where we get the $50,000 that is authorized by the Ohio State Budget, Ohio Budget Management, the Office of Budget Management, the OBM, says at this point it's $50,000. Furthermore, all professional services are not contracts. They're expedient things, and the mayor will expound.
Council Vice President, real quick, I did not get the
Mayor,
document.
you are recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Vice President. I did not get the document that Councilman Tim Austin referenced in regards to numbers and deletion thereof numbers. So again, Rule 8 applies. We have not seen it. This legislation is all invalid. What I would like to say to all of the residents on the line, I would encourage you, and please contact my office. I will give you the next fiscal commission meeting Zoom information. The council president incorrectly states something that she said that she corrected herself on as the chair of the fiscal commission. That was corrected and she keeps stating it. I would invite you as residents to come on this Zoom meeting and ask the chair of the fiscal commission herself for clarity around what the council president keeps issuing. I would also ask that Councilman Martin step up. Councilman Martin, a lot of this you do know, please. Your opinion is valued and your knowledge, your wealth of knowledge is appreciated. I would appreciate it if you step up and step into some of these conversations.
Now I would
Thank you.
like to call on the deputy. You welcome. Deputy Clerk, are you there? Tracy,
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
please read what you posted on the record.
Okay, hold on one moment. The second part of the section that Ms. Hemmons was reading, there's the other part that says, such expenditures shall first be authorized and directed by ordinance of the council, and when so authorized and directed, the mayor shall make a written contract with the lowest and best bidder.
Is that the second part of that law?
Yes.
If it's over 50,000.
That's over
Ms. Timmons, why
50,000.
didn't you read the full law?
It's over
If
50,000.
it's over 50,000, that's all part of the same law.
But there's another part to the law.
The mayor gets your authorization if it's over 50,000. Then it has to go to bid.
Well-
But we did have a bid for street repair,
Mhm.
but you would not honor the bid. You threw out 5 streets that we had agreed upon to be repaired, but then you sat on it and wouldn't let those streets be repaired. So meanwhile, we're all bumping
So we
along.
had no street
knocking out-
repair in 2020. For the
That's not
residents on
true.
this
That is
call,
not true. You
I
know
would
it's not
submit to
true.
you,
It's not
residents on
true.
this call, that
Mayor, you are
if
now
the salt
recognized.
truck- if the salt truck, I'm sorry, the salt truck goes down and we gotta wait 3 weeks to get the salt truck finished or fixed, the last bill for the salt truck was $8,000. But we had to get it fixed on an emergency basis because it's snowing and we have to keep the streets safe and secure. We have to plow the streets. You simply can't zero out this line item. It makes no sense. Thank you, Council Vice President.
The chair recognized the president.
Well, I don't have anything else to say to justify what they're saying. I don't need to justify what they're saying because I understand government, how governments work. And I understand that when you write a budget, that the funds requested in the budget should be justified. We have a budget that the mayor gave us for $24 million, some millions of dollars, and that budget is not justified. They want me to take responsibility for numbers on a piece of paper, and I don't even know what those numbers relate to. That's where the downfall is. I'm not going to take responsibility for numbers and I don't know where they go, how they flush into a system. Are they associated with a plan? I haven't seen a plan that these numbers are associated with. I asked for a budget narrative. The administration seems to act like they don't know what a budget narrative is, nor do they want to justify the expenditure of these amounts of money that they're requesting. I mean, I've never seen a budget without a budget justification. Never seen one like that before.
Do we have any questions from the public? Any question from the public? Mayor, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Thank you, Council Vice President, which is one of the reasons I'm requesting Councilman Martin
Yeah, I'm trying to get on. Can you hear me?
chime in. Yes, so he knows.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Councilman Martin has been in fiscal emergency longer than all of us. Please,
Well,
Councilman Martin.
I want to thank you for providing what I asked specifically for years 2019 and 2020.
Yes.
And we've been dealing with this budget now for 3 months, and I'm concerned. And here's what I need to say, and it's going to be redundant, but we can get through this very simply.
You have been recognized, Council Martin.
Okay, we don't enter in contracts every day. So just like I suggested with the professional line item, that at the end of each month in 2021, we get a report, it can be given to our clerk and she can make copies for the entire council. The same thing for contracts. If we get past these two things, we can move forward. It's not a difficult thing to do. We may have at best maybe 15, 20 contracts in the whole year. So if there's a couple of contracts made in January, at the end of January, we should have a copy of the contract. We want to ask questions. The same for January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That way we can get around this. I don't think it's too difficult.
I am willing to do that. And anything.
And then we can vote on this thing, okay? Now the fiscal commission's giving us to the 17th. We still got a little more time, but I sit back and I'm using what my grandmother taught me. She said, always use common sense. So if we've been hung up on contracts and money being spent on the professional line item, I'm quite sure the honorable mayor can give us that at the end of each month. And if he doesn't, we'll cut the professional line items out. We can do that.
Yes.
So I want everyone to kind of digest this. It's very simple. At the end of, we're in February now. At the end of February, we have all the professional, what's been spent out, all the professional line items from each department. That's not difficult. Contracts. At the end of February, all the contracts were in. We should have a copy of the contract and how much the contracts are worth. That way we can move on. It's that simple. Okay? That way, I don't point the finger at the man and say, well, I asked you for this, you didn't give it to me, or Corinne, or any of us. But the most simple thing, and I listened to this very intently this evening, is let's do it that way. I think it's fair, and the mayor's already said he's willing to do that. That way, if we get the contracts in the end of February now, let's say there were 3 or 4 contracts made. We get the entire contract, not piecemeal, the entire contract, and if we have issues, we address them in the meeting. Same for professional line item. Every department head is not going in a professional line item every day or every week, okay? If we get that, we're proactive. We can end this. This is our impasse. It's the contracts and professional line item. That's where there seems to be questions. So I'm suggesting, and I can only suggest that we do that starting at the end of this month, that we get the contracts, if there were any in February, and we get what was spent out of the 5 departments in the city who spent money on the professional line items, and then we can move forward. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah.
Madam President, this is for you. Tell everybody what you really need from the line item. Specific from the professional.
Counselor
line.
Gowdy, at this point, we are belaboring this. We have drugged this horse down the road. His head has fallen off. I believe we need to try and move forward.
So are we going to, are you guys receptive to getting it at the end of February, getting all the professional line items?
Mr. Martin, you have to be recognized.
I need to know because I don't want to waste my time.
You are recognized now, Councilman Martin.
Okay, I'm asking again. Let's try that. We'll get the end of the contracts for the end of this month and what was spent out of the professional line out for the 5 departments. That's not a difficult thing to do. Some departments won't be any spending. Some departments won't even enter into a contract in the summertime. Let's do that so we can move on.
Okay, I'm willing to pass a full year budget, but I just need to know what is really holding us up.
Well, I'd like to add a caveat to ordinance 1221 that we put in that we provided what's spent in the professional line item of all 5 departments, and at the end of each month during the 2021 for succeeding years, and what's spent out of the 5 departments professional line item at the end of the month. That's not a difficult thing to do.
Council Vice President, can I be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Thank you, Councilman Martin. So I've said this before, Council, the monthly financials are finished and put online every month. Council, you have 2 clerks. Clerks, I am not attacking you at all, but the clerks can simply go online, right? We can send it directly to them. All they have to do is look at the monthly expenditures. The line item numbers tell you the department that the expenditure came out of. You got 2 clerks. Please, one of them can do that. That's not hard at all, Councilman, Council President, Council Vice President. I've been saying this for months. The information is there. We are a public entity. There's no such thing as documents that we aren't providing. That makes no sense.
Madam President, I want to know, do you want this stuff bidded or what's going on?
Well, this is a first read. Can we move to the next resolution?
Well, before you do that, I'd like to amend 1221 to include the contracts at the end of each month and the professional line item for all 5 departments. I'd like to amend that 1221 for that to be included. Hello?
Councilman Martin, I really appreciate that you want to speak, but you got to be recognized.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm asking to add an amendment to 1221 that at the end of each month that we get what was spent out of all professional line items at the end of each month, what contracts we were in. I'm talking about the entire contract. I'd like to add that to 1221.
Counselor,
we had left our colleagues out of it.
Counselor Gowdy.
Austin, do you have anything?
I do.
Counselor Gowdy.
I would like to see if
The president is only right. We just don't want to leave them out the conversation.
Okay, great. Can I make if Councilor Martin would like to make an amendment, I would also like to make an amendment to either reduce that timeline from 3 weeks down to 7 days or 5 days. And that is still a stretch. I just want to make sure that we don't cause additional harm or duress to a city that's already under a lot of stress and strife, so to speak, to reduce that financial burden on the city and not limit them to making good fiscal decisions on behalf of the city, especially in those emergency circumstances. Talked about either strike that line out totally or reduce the timeline. So I'd like to have a consensus of the council to either strike it out or reduce the timeline for that 3 weeks that had been asked in the
Well,
legislation.
Well, how do you feel about adding until we get into the end of each
Councilman
month?
Martin, you gotta be recognized.
Okay, Madam Vice President, I'm asking Mr. Austin.
I recognize you now, and we definitely gotta move on.
Thank you. Then we need to move on. If we attach that to 12/21 and we get it at the end of each month, I think that's fair. Okay?
I agree.
I think
agree.
it's
We can
fair.
strike that out.
I
Yeah, we
mean,
can
we give
strike
them
that
more
totally.
time. I think it's fair.
Can we
Right.
move the agenda?
Okay.
Move the agenda.
Wait a minute. I'd like to, if I need to wait till, I want to make an amendment to 12/21 that we get at the end of each month a copy of all professional line items spent from the 5 departments and the contracts.
I
Contracts
agree to put
each
that in
month.
there, so let,
So can, I'd like
agree
to have that added.
Mr.
Madam
Martin,
Clerk.
I've heard. Council
Madam
Gowdy,
Clerk.
Council
Madam
Gowdy.
Clerk, are you,
Mr. Martin,
are you
finish
guys
up,
listening to
please.
me?
Martin,
Mr. Clerk, yeah, that's what I want to do, because we're not getting anywhere here. And the mayor already said he's willing to do it, so let's do that so we can move on and pass this budget.
I agree with you.
Councilor Gowdy. I'm requesting to speak here.
Okay,
Mr. Martin is making a recommendation to amend legislation that has no dollar amount attached to it. So what are we supposed to do, Mr. Martin? Just open up the floodgates, give the mayor all the money, and then hope for a report? This organization called the council has a series of reports that are due to this council on a monthly basis. I met with the mayor in December, I believe, early January, in regard to the reporting. The mayor assured me that he was going to bring forward the reports that were identified in our discussion. And to date, we haven't seen any reports. So I don't know how you amend something without putting a dollar amount to it.
What we're doing,
go ahead, Mayor.
Council Vice President. So, Council President, if I could kindly refresh your memory, our discussion, I suggested that you had, once again, hold departmental budget hearings so that questions and conversation could happen, so you could get any clarity you needed on a department.
No, sir. No, sir. No,
I never
sir.
promised
No,
you any
sir. That's not the
documents,
discussion
and I
I'm
can't-
referring
I
to.
can't
Council
let-
President, no disagreement.
Okay.
I'm not
because I can't let
referring
you
to
say
that. I'm
promise you
referring
something
to
that
the
I didn't give
discussion
you.
we had about reports. The item was on the
Council
agenda.
President, no
We pulled it off of the agenda as a result of your agreeing to provide us
Council
with those
President, you
reports.
have not
That's
been
not factually
recognized.
correct. Any document you asked
Okay,
for, I
then.
provided.
Please, Mayor, please finish so I can call the council.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Any document that you've requested in writing, I have given to you. Our conversation, I asked as humbly as possible that you have budget hearings for the department so that you could get into a detailed explanation.
You never asked me to
to
have
what-
budget hearings.
I
You
said.
stalled our budget
What
hearings.
I
I'm not
said-
gonna sit here and listen to you make those statements that are
Council
not
Vice
true.
President,
We
Council Vice
scheduled
President.
budget hearings in November, Mayor.
we had
The
budget
clerk
hearings.
scheduled them. We have
Mayor,
the
could you
record,
let her
we have the
speak, please?
calendar, and you stalled the budget
Now,
hearings and told
Council
people
Vice
not to
President.
fill out the documents. The documents were not returned to the
1
council
second,
until
Mayor. I
late
wanna let you-
December.
Now it's the mayor's turn, Council President. You got it out. again.
Thank you, Council Vice President. So those documents were filled out. We did have budget hearings, some of which lasted over 2 hours. You did a very good thing a couple weeks ago, Council President. You had a series of meetings, if I'm not mistaken, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where you asked a bunch of questions to the finance director, and he answered them one by one by one. He went over the fiscal recovery plan. I thought that was a great meeting because you got to ask those questions and you got an answer. To ask someone for an open-ended question to just write, I didn't understand that. That's why I kept asking you to have budget hearings. So that's all I'm asking. Budget hearings will get into the crux of what departments need. Asking them to write this long narrative that's not specific, right? We don't have the manpower to do that. So that's why I asked not to do that. But we did it, and we had budget hearings. Thank you, Council Vice President.
You didn't, your budget hearings did not complete the document.
You've been
Every
recognized,
department left the professional services line item empty.
All directed.
That's not true. And we can re-provide those to council and to any
1 second,
resident
Mr. Mayor.
on this call. We can provide those documents because we did answer them.
Law Director, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
Well, if I remember correctly, I told the council in budget hearings exactly what our professional services went towards. And that was court reporters, that were attorneys, that were union people. Were, no, I don't think someone is listening. I think someone is laughing. But anyway, we spent 2 hours with the council. I think that this is a dark hole that the council president is creating just to stonewall the budget. After 2 hours, we went into great detail in the budget hearing that we had. Right now, we have given over and over again a detailed summary of what professional services goes for, because a person doesn't like the individual or doesn't like the program or doesn't understand the program, they continuously reject it. I don't think that there was anything that we could provide further because I think it's becoming like insatiable in terms of we need more information, we need more information. You get more and more information, and it just is not satisfied to the requester. I think there's nothing that we can reasonably do further that would satisfy the council president in terms of the budget. Every other city in the county provides information. We've been under fiscal emergency since 2012 for almost 9 years now. And we are under the surveillance, the monitorization, the supervision of state auditors, of CPAs, of persons who are assigned a law firm, an accounting firm specifically, that most of what they do is look at each and every penny that we spend. And if the mayor was misappropriating or we were not doing the right thing with the money, that certainly would have been identified. We'd have the FBI, we'd have the sheriffs, we'd have the inspector generals, the solicitor generals, the attorney generals. We would have everybody on our backs. So if we can satisfy them, I really don't think we can satisfy certain members of council any further, because they don't like who we hire as professional servants. They don't like the programs that are going on. For instance, finance has to pay ADP. The EMS, the fire department, has to pay university hospitals. The police department has to pay BCI. All of that is being held up now because line items for professional services, my compensation was wiped out, was zeroed out because perhaps people don't like me. So I don't think that's a fair way to run a city or to assess and judge a budget. A lot of people don't like lawyers. I know some lawyers I don't like either, but still you have to pay them for the work that they do. Likewise, court reporters, likewise, ADP, likewise, university hospitals, likewise, the support services for the EMS, likewise for the building and housing inspectors and asbestos surveys, and all those things that come under professional services, and they don't all have formal official contracts. They're verbal contracts, they're oral contracts, and as long as they're under $50,000, they abide by Section 72, the contract provision of the charter.
I do have a question, Council Vice President.
One second. Willie Hemmons, you said that we have to pay the law fees, and our law attorney have not been paid yet.
Well,
What is we plan on to do about that?
well, the thing is, that's, you know, that legislation was vetoed primarily because there's a conflict of interest with that particular attorney. You have the right, according to the charter, to hire any attorney, but one with serious ethical issues, we cannot hire in good conscience. He's suing us right now. So why would you?
Shouldn't we leave that
adversary?
Shouldn't we leave that up to the ethics committee?
You mean council doesn't have ethics? Can't you judge ethical considerations? Don't you have the ability to assess when something is ethical and something is not? I mean,
because you think that it's a violation, because of you thinking that it's a violation, that's why he can't get paid?
No, after 43 years of impeccable law service and being a lawyer for 4 decades, I know when somebody is suing me, he's not my friend, okay? He's not going to be very supportive. He has to review contracts. He has to review relationships with the police department. You should have seen, and I shared with you some of the things that particular lawyer said about our police department that were totally untrue. So it's oxymoronic to hire somebody that is oppositional to your welfare.
Okay, another question. Do our charter actually say what lawyer we can hire?
Hopefully, your charter wants you to abide by ethical provisions. Your charter does have things that talk about malfeasance and talk about bad behavior and bad conduct with people that are already on board. So you have that ability. So why would you hire somebody that called me and Heather, the assistant law director, in on the carpet before a court of law subpoenaed us away from the city in order to respond to allegations of misconduct and civil rights violations in federal court, in state court, in all kinds of other forums? Why would that person be a suitable candidate for you unless you really, this is getting down to the nitty-gritty, want an adversary within the city in order to sabotage and to divert and destroy the city?
We are a separate branch of government.
You're still the city, you're city council.
A charter that said,
Comment.
got a charter that says in state that we can hire any lawyer we want. So I don't know.
I mean, there's a little story about a woman who took in the snake.
We can even hire somebody from your law firm.
And nurtured the snake, and then the snake bit her. Why would you take in a biting snake?
Snake and laws are two different things.
There's an analogy.
Mr. Mayor, it's on you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. So I'd like to, since this is an open forum for the public, if I'm understanding the legislation we're discussing, and again, I haven't seen it in its entirety, but if I'm understanding it correctly, there was a 10-day period, and now you're saying a 7-day period. Councilman Martin, we've discussed over the years how council speaks. So council speaks through legislation. So what I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Martin, or someone from the public, if that's true, what I'm understanding from this legislation, since professional services is zeroed out, God forbid, if the fire truck
Took out my salary.
went out, if the fire truck went out, or the EMS truck went out, I'd have to send it to the shop, get 3 quotes, and then come back to council to then vote and pass legislation before this ambulance EMS truck gets fixed? Is that what I'm understanding this to say?
I don't see it that way. I think that,
Council speaks through
Excuse me, Mr.
legislation.
Martin, this have not,
can I be recognized?
Mr. Councilor Martin, you have to be recognized.
Yeah, I'm asking
Now
to be
you are
recognized,
recognized.
Mr.
Now
Hardy.
you are recognized, Councilor Martin.
Okay, anything can happen in the municipality. We know that. But I think to be fair, and it's a give and take from not just the administration, but from council too, to have the contracts at the end of each month, give us of the 5 departments, including council, whatever we spend out of professional line items. I think we can move on at that. It's not a difficult thing to do. We need to go on and pass this budget. I want to put this in ordinance 1221, and then we'll see if the administration, whoever it is, adhere to it. The department heads will have responsibility. If they spend something on a professional line item in February, we'll get it. If there's any contracts entered in February, we'll get them. The entire contract. That's the only thing that's really holding us up here. I feel the consensus that we could do this. And I think once we do that, we can go on to pass the budget in the next week or so. The permanent budget.
I want to
President
recognize,
Gotti,
I want to recognize the resident that's got her hands up. And then you, law director.
Hello?
Hey, the resident, please.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Yes,
I'd just like to ask the question.
please state your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Esmeralda Simmons. My address is 1243 Roselle Avenue. I'd just like to state the obvious. I don't know if this is simplistic or not, but what's wrong with just working together? If they're asking for something that they're not seeing, what's wrong with sharing that? I understand emergencies do occur. And when that happens, I can't imagine that council would not allow an ambulance to be fixed. So my question is, why is it that you all don't seem to be able to come together and sit down like Councilman Martin said and get this thing done? I mean, because this is an embarrassment and it's very frustrating. We've been on the phone. We've been on this Zoom meeting since 5:30. And all I hear is you all arguing, going back and forth, back and forth. I mean, the undertones to me speak to the fact that obviously you all are not willing to govern. And I'd just like to ask that you please make every effort to come together, whether you like this person or you don't like that person. Make the effort to work together. We elected you all, and we expect you to do the people's work. Thank you.
I totally agree with you. Definitely need to look forward and
There's another hand up, Miss Gowdy.
we definitely need to get this passed. She's right.
Miss Gowdy, you have another resident with their
Please
hand up.
recognize the president to respond to the resident.
Okay, you want me to
I just-
respond to the resident? Yes,
The president,
sorry.
this is our plan, President, to get this passed. What do we have to do to move this forward?
The information that I have is in front of you. I don't like concurrently and over repeating myself. Okay, I've given everybody all the information that I have. If the mayor can't justify his budget, then I have a problem. If the chair tells me he's overspending money, then I have a problem. You need to understand that I am the chair of the finance committee and that I am the representative from the council that sits on the fiscal emergency commission. So I have a responsibility to make sure that things are right. And when people tell me that there's something wrong and I go and look and I see that there's something wrong, then I have to take some action. I've asked the mayor, like I said, for justification, for a budget narrative by department, telling me what they spend the professional services line item information on. You heard him say right here tonight, he don't have time to give me that. I don't understand how you ask somebody for $24 million and then turn around and tell them that you don't have time to give them the narrative justification that they asked for. It eludes me. The whole thing just eludes me. I think that we need to conclude this because as the resident stated, we've been on this phone since 5:30 going on with this. This is a regular meeting. This is not a committee meeting, and it should not take us this long to discuss these matters. Thank you.
And the reason why it's taking so long because you two have differences that needed to get out, so we will be moving.
Council Vice President, do I get a,
And one more resident have a question before you, Mayor.
thank you.
Good evening, Council. Kelvin Irby, 14802 Elm Avenue. It's been stated in the years of being appointed to a seat that you guys need mechanics. It's been stated that you do need a law director that will give you the truth about items. It's been stated that the facts that Mayor himself has made need to work together. There's no work together. You sit here today, and like everybody else said, from 5:30 to 7:21 in the evening, and nothing is resolved. Nothing. From one end of Euclid to the other end, you still haven't said 3 things to put the city back together. We got COVID money that was not spent for the citizens of East Cleveland. It was used maliciously, and then to keep finding out that this is how it's going to be ran. It's not favorable for any of us. And then, like you say, it's sitting up here talking about what the friends don't have and don't do. That's not legal legislature for us. You're cheating us, the citizens of East Cleveland. We're the ones that pay salaries, and we got the less service. And to find out that there's not enough EMS equipment, it's not enough police to do street service. And then you sit here and tell us that the streets won't be paved, or giving us false information about how the streets are ran or paved or put back together. You are cheating us. I'm done.
Okay, I tried to make sure that this meeting will be professional, and as when I have the gavel, and the mayor will be closing this, he'll be the last person to speak.
Thank you, Council Vice President. In regards to our resident and in regards to council, those of you remaining on the line, I have always prided myself as a humble servant. Nate and I often joke about that. The humility you must have being a public servant. I've always been amenable, and I've always tried to accommodate where accommodation is needed. Here tonight, I've stayed on this call. I'm obligated to stay on the call, but I've tried to work with council with whatever you need so that we can pass this legislation. There are 3 pieces. I know the importance of it because I don't want the city to be dinged to an 85% expenditure rate by the fiscal commission, and they have the ability to do that. And they will do it because they've done it before. So I remain ready and willing to work with council, right, on whatever needs is possible. There is one thing I want residents to know. I did mention earlier that the monthly finances are put online. Much of what happens in professional services, if you look at old professional services, you will see in those professional services that they're not something you can actually predict out. All you can do is say, we're gonna need cars fixed, we're gonna need new uniforms, we're gonna need, so you have to put money in that line item to then fund the expenses as they come up. I won't ask this question, but I'll make it a statement. There's no one that could have predicted COVID-19 and all of the money and resources that as a city we had to spend this year dealing with COVID-19. So can I give you a narrative in 2019 that COVID-19 is coming and we have to spend all this money? So when I told the president that, it was in that regard. I said, the best I can do is give you last year's. You'll see what happened last year. You'll understand what the police department is charged with doing, what the fire department is charged with doing, and they'll execute around that. Save lives, provide safety, right? Get uniforms, provide testing, right? Transport people back and forth to the hospital. So I hope that the residents can see, and the council more importantly can see, that I'm willing to work with you, whatever you need. I said that we will provide it. Ask your clerks to then interpret it and tell you exactly what department it comes from, but it's there every month. So thank you, Council Vice President.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We're gonna move on. Let's
Councilman
move on.
Austin has his hand up.
We really don't have time. I am so sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Austin, could you please hold your comment, please? So move
Yes,
on.
ma'am, I can hold my comment.
I'm gonna- Let's move down to the next legislation.
Next, we have resolution number 13-21. This is a resolution approving the mayor's financial fiscal recovery plan in accordance with section 118.06 of the Ohio Revised Code for submission to the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission, the commission, for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, not to exceed $14,043,989.78 in general fund funds and $8,101,972.77 in grant funds. This is requested by Mayor Brandon King, sponsored by Kareem Stevenson, Council President, and this is the first read.
We're gonna move on.
Okay.
Since this is the first read.
Next, we have
Point of clarity. Point of clarity. The document that I submitted for the financial
Mr.
recovery
Mayor, you are
plan.
recognized. You
Thank
got
you.
1 minute.
Thank you. The document that I submitted, the legislation that I submitted for the financial recovery plan, this is not it, right? This is not that document. So again, it goes back to Rule 8, and it goes even beyond that. Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Fiscal emergency dictates that the financial recovery plan comes from the mayor. Comes from the mayor. So when I give it to you, you can't change it. It's a 5-year plan. You can't change it and then submit it. So.
And you can't tell us that we can't change it. If it's
I'm
wrong,
not. It's the
if it
state
doesn't
law.
represent what the city
It's
needs to
state law that
represent,
says that.
there's
President,
things
you have
that
to
you
be
all told us
recognized.
that were in the
President,
financial
you have to be
recovery plan that are
recognized,
not
please.
there. For
President,
example,
President,
Mr.
you have to
Mayor,
be recognized.
you
are
and several other people in your administration told the council that we could not buy cell phones because the fiscal commission said that we couldn't, and it was in the fiscal recovery plan. I've read the fiscal recovery plan. I've not seen that. So there's a host of things that are being stated that are not correct.
Mr. Mayor, you only have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So again, I yield to our longest sitting councilman. Nate Martin can tell you that the fiscal commission, when I was on council, took away our cell phones. That's what happened with the cell phones. The state law.
That is not what I'm stating. What I'm stating is that you told us we couldn't have a cell phone because it was in the plan.
Please wait, Council
President. Stop, just stop. You and your administration, there's members of your administration who are on purpose giving this council bad information. And people from outside of outside of this organization have verified that the information is erroneous. And you know
Madam-
that.
Madam
And
President,
she knows it when she writes these opinions that I don't know who asked for them, but all I know is I keep getting these opinions, and these opinions have laws, and sometimes the laws are applicable and sometimes, most of the times they're not. So I don't know what the purpose of that is. I've tried to work with your law director in regard to her opinions and the filings and the things that she puts out. But she just continues and she refuses to come to any kind of conclusion that benefits the council. The information, we don't get all the information. She'll tell us about a law. Sure, she'll tell you about it. The law is 4 pages long, you get 3 lines. Those are the kinds of things that the residents need to understand that we're up against in dealing with this administration. We have been told things that I have read and found out that are not true. Information has been removed from the council office. Okay, so if you all want to go here, you can hunch your shoulders, but Mr. Mayor, you're in the building most of the time till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. You know what's going on in that building.
Council President, I would like the mayor to respond.
Thank you, Council
Without
Vice President. Thank you, Council Vice President. I'm the.
No interruption now. 1 minute, Mr. Mayor.
I'm gonna leave the part about, I'm not understanding the part about me being in the building and stuff missing. We don't have keys to the council's office. Now.
That's not true either. Here we go. Tell the truth, please.
Council President, let him speak, please.
Thank you, Council
And then
Vice President.
I promise you, you'll get the rest of the time.
Thank you, Council Vice President. So for council and for those of you on this call, I can get you the state laws that govern fiscal emergency. We're not making any of this up. I'll give you the document. You can read it and interpret it for yourself. That way you don't have to listen to me. I'll give you the ordinance, the state ordinance that it goes under. You don't have to read it from me or listen to me or the law director because it's a law from the state. We're in fiscal emergency. Councilman Martin knows it's a 5-year plan that has to come from the mayor, right? If I could give you a brief history in 10 seconds, years ago, under the Norton administration, this very same thing or something very similar happened in which the mayor was supposed to provide something, council took it and changed it. And the state said, you can't change it. It has to come from the mayor. Thank you, Council Vice President.
The chair recognize Austin.
Great, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I did have a few notes and I just want to, express my concern when a person says the council about an issue that I don't even get a phone call about, a text message or any information about, I would like for this person to say that it's their intent, because I didn't review not one line to make one change or discuss a change that need to be made to the mayor's plan, because I am a councilman and I try to do councilman stuff. We actually had budget hearings where each section was required to fill out a document generated by certain members of council. The bad thing about that document that they filled out, it did not answer the questions that I believe were the intentions when the document was prepared. And that is not any fault of any section within the city, but I ask that as we move forward as a council, that we take the mayor's recommendation to heart and actually have those sections that we have the most concern with come back before council. And let's treat it like an emergency if that is the majority of council's decision.
What you say, Mom?
One desire. If the council wants more information from each section within the city, let's have another round of hearings for those specific sections that we still have questions about. I have no questions at this point because the city was here well before 2019 and they were okay. And as we have been going forward, we have been constantly making progress on our financial prowess, if you will, that's been beneficial to our residents. And I don't think that's going to slow down. The only thing that is slowing down is one member of council doing everything they can to create more havoc and make it so that everybody in the city should be scared of what the mayor's doing right now. And I don't think that's the narrative that I'm trying to create. The fiscal commission is the last stop. They're the last line of defense for the city. And if they have been respectfully doing their job, then there's no egregious financial discrepancies that are going on. And a little bit more research. And if you continue to turn away from the facts, you can tell a child, look over here and don't touch it because it's hot. If the child looks the opposite direction from which you're trying to guide them, it's not your fault. Sometimes you have to take responsibility for your lack of knowledge, especially if the person is trying to provide you what they provide you. And I get that monthly report and I review it. That's what I'm saying. The monthly report that we're saying we don't have it. No, it does have the information. If you want better detail, you want to see the color of the paper that the contract was printed on, go to the finance department and ask them for those documents. And there are multiple record holders within the city. So if we have specific questions about specific records, we can go to those record holders within the city and get those documents. Even if we have to go back over to Helen S. Brown to start pulling some real historic documents. And we kind of need to corral some of our records better, yes. And if we have specific questions and or concerns, we have to stop moving the target. That means that you ask for this today, then you ask for this, then you ask for this, because now we asking for contracts. We had a list of 2019, 2020 expenditures. Okay, that was pretty cool. But now we want more stuff. So we don't want to add to the list. Let's get one list and lock it down. And Councilwoman Stevenson, you have to lock down what you actually want and not keep on moving the target. That's all I have. Thank you.
Before we close, the chair recognizes.
Ms. Gowdy?
Before we close, the chair recognizes, excuse me. The chair recognizes Councilman Martin. Would you?
Yeah, what I want to say is I would like for Corrine Stevenson and Brandon King to get together to see where where they can agree, because the next time this come up, I'm ready to act on a budget if we don't make any progress. Nobody's perfect. The city has gone basically okay. I think the last few years, we had some years where we didn't do budget hearings, and I think that's part of the problem. But the Honorable Council President Corrine Stevenson and the Honorable Mayor, you guys need to get together.
Yes, you do.
And don't leave out of your office if she come up to you until we're ready to act on this budget. We don't need to have no more conversations about this. I am basically Victoria Danu and Tracy Peters. I want that caveat added that we get monthly reports from all 5 departments on what's spent out of the professional line item, and at the end of each month, any contracts we in, the total contract. And I think that we can get a lot done. Our city is ripe for development. I'm saddened because I looked at Smithsonian Channel yesterday, and I saw in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, Blacks had it going on. They had stores and pharmacies and businesses, and the other residents around them got jealous. So what did they do? They burned them out. Brandon had, I think his uncle, who had a store for close to 40 years on Euclid. We have got to help each other. So if Brandon has been to college and Corrine has been a police officer, I'm asking you two guys to sit down in the next few days and then come back saying we're ready to get this done. This is what I'm asking. Not to point your finger at anybody, but you wants to be, Brandon loves being the mayor, and Corrine Stevenson loves being the council president, and you both are intelligent people. So let's get this done. And if it doesn't work,
let's work it out.
Then we'll go there. Lastly, we have got to do better. I saw after I switched from Smithsonian, I went to PBS, and I saw where black pilots, a woman, Betsy Coleman, and all the mess they had to do. We didn't have to subject ourselves to being in the back of the bus or colored only and all that mess we've been dealing with for 40 years in this country. So I'm calling on the good nature of Brandon and the good nature of Kareem. Come on, let's get this done. Let's get it done. Okay? So we've got to do that.
Yes, President, you get the final word. Yes. Y'all guys got to meet.
Please.
We've been on this too long, President.
Yes.
You get the final word. Okay, let's move on to the next piece before we close the meeting.
Next is ordinance 0621. This is an ordinance providing for the schedule of inter-fund transfers of funds between all funds and declaring an emergency. It's requested by the Director of Finance, sponsored by Kareem Stevenson, Council President.
I'd like to co-sponsor this legislation.
Okay.
I would like to know what's being transferred, maybe not tonight, but before we vote on it in a week or two. It's an emergency. So we need to. I need to know what's transferred. That's the responsible thing for any council person to do, is to know what's. He's saying provide the schedule of inter-fund transfers of funds between all funds. So it shouldn't take long to find that out with Charles being there. I'd like to know about that. Well, what are we?
Mark, you definitely need to be recognized. I agree with you. We shouldn't act on this.
Can I have something to say here?
You've been recognized, Council President.
This piece of legislation is incomplete. That's what I got to say.
Well, we put it in committee till it's complete. Madam Vice President, again, Brandon King, the Honorable Mayor, Kareem Stevenson, Honorable Council President, let's get this done before the end of this week. I'm asking you to come together and get it done.
I see Mr. Mayor hands is up. Do you have a response?
Yes, thank you, Council Vice President. And Council President, thank you for recognizing that this legislation is incorrect. It is not as we sent it down last year. Therefore, Rule 8 applies to this legislation as well. Again, when we send it down, appreciate if you just submit it as we send it down, or let's have a discussion as opposed to you taking it upon yourself, Council President, to change legislation that's sent to you and then try to move it forward. In regards to Councilman Martin, I did write a letter. I CC'd you on the letter with your recommendation that we meet. And in the letter, and I'll state it here, I would love to meet with the Council President to hash this out, to get this done, because I squarely know that if we're reduced to 85%, I will be held accountable by the residents. They won't see this. They won't know that I've done everything in my power possible to get the permanent appropriations passed, to get the financial recovery plan passed. What I would ask, Councilman Martin, is that you attend the meeting. Please, I can't meet with her by myself because of the discrepancies we've had tonight. I say it happened one way, she's saying it happened another way. Let's have someone else there. That way, there's no discrepancy about what happened. So yes, I want to meet with you. And Council President, I want to meet with you when you're available. Please let me know.
And Mayor Brandon King, if you let me know.
Hold on, Mr. Council Martin, hold on. You have not been recognized.
Okay. I just got
to meet tomorrow.
What?
Council President, are you able to meet with the mayor tomorrow?
No, ma'am.
When can you meet with them, Kareem Stevenson?
Councilor Martin.
I'm not going to discuss a meeting in this meeting. You're out. I'm not going to discuss that in this meeting. What I said was that this piece of legislation
when can you meet
is incomplete. And so for all intents and purposes, This piece of legislation shouldn't be here.
Well, we're not gonna act on the legislation. So what I need to know from Brandon King and Corrine
Councilman Martin,
Stevenson.
you gotta definitely be recognized.
I'm not
Okay.
going to
You are
schedule a
recognized
meeting,
now.
Mr. Martin, in this meeting. Thank you.
Well, that's okay. What I'm asking is if you schedule a meeting tomorrow from your house, I need to know so I can be there. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to do it tonight.
I want to
President,
make
could
one thing, I want to make something clear here,
Go
okay?
ahead.
And I want to, because I need to address the double standard in the building, okay? There's a double standard in this building. And that double standard is the mayor can meet with Councilman Martin, he can meet with Councilman Smith, he can meet with Councilman Austin, all by himself. But every time it comes time for me to meet with the mayor, I got to have somebody to meet with him and me. That's not going to work, gentlemen.
So would you meet with him if I'm not there? Would you?
Excuse me, Councilman Martin.
Yeah, I'm asking her a question.
I
'cause
would
we
Why
like
can-
to order
should my meeting
Councilman
be any
Martin.
different from your meeting, Mr. Martin?
What?
We
Why
need
should my
order.
meeting be any
We
different
need
from yours?
order.
Corrine Stevens, do you refuse to meet with the mayor? I don't have to be there. I
I'm
don't have to
not
be.
refusing. I'm stating a fact. There's
Well, I
a
don't have to
double
be there.
standard in operations in
Mr. Mayor,
in City Hall.
Mr. Mayor, could
Yes.
you meet with the president one-on-one, please?
Council Vice President, I would love to meet with the council president I would love to meet with the council president to go over this. I would humbly ask that someone is there to verify
Right.
what was discussed. Because tonight, she recollected it one way and I recalled it another. So that does not happen, I would like a third person there, even if it's not Councilman Martin, a third person at
Okay.
this meeting, please. And I'll clear my schedule. I'll rearrange my schedule to meet with you because I know the importance of getting this done for the residents of this city. Thank you.
Council President, please, could you call him tomorrow and schedule a meeting?
Council Vice President, let's move on with the agenda.
Okay, we moving on. I need a motion to adjourn this.
Madam Vice President, I move that the meeting be adjourned.
You've got residents with their hands up.
Okay.
Okay, residents with their hands up, please, quickly.
Excuse me, I want to go back to ordinance 0621. Is this going into committee? Is it being?
Yes.
Yes, it's going into committee.
Okay. So we have a resident.
Hi, this is Miss Simmons again on Roselle. I'm sure you guys heard the frustration in my voice originally when I commented first, but I would like to say, I thank you all for the effort that you do put forward for what you do for our city. But I would just love to see you guys work together. It's not that hard. I hear the frustration in the council president's voice. I hear the frustration in the mayor's voice, but we're not children. So let's just sit down and you all talk about it and figure out where it is. If it's line items and council wants to know what is this one for, one by one, then what's wrong with telling them? It's called accountability. That's their job. So let them do theirs. That's all I ask, because we need to move forward and we can't move forward. We're in fiscal emergency. Once we're out of fiscal emergency, what happens? When the state moves away, we're right back where we started from. So let's just make the effort. I hear the frustration. I'm frustrated. And I know this is not easy work, but I'm just asking you guys to please make the effort. I mean, if it's a matter of saying, you know, help me on this, then help out. Don't just tell a person you don't understand and it would be easier if you did this. No, if they ask you a question and you have the answer and you can provide it, then provide the information. Because the behaviors that I'm seeing, this is not normal. This is like, I'm just here just stunned. So I'd just like to ask that you guys please just make that effort. Thank you.
I definitely want to apologize, trying to keep order. Kyle Irby, do you have anything that you would like to say?
No, I'm gonna hold this one till it air all out, because it's not, this is not the forum for this type of discussion. And as I keep hearing Nate Martin being brought up, Mr. Martin got to understand, this is not frat brothertry. This is the city. You don't keep going when your frat brother calls on you for a favor, and we might as well put it on out there. I'm sick of hearing my frat brother's needs, my frat brother wants. It don't work like that. We the people need our streets repaired, our homes repaired. This is what we need. So if you keep replying to somebody that didn't do his job as a councilman, tough. But we need this to be resolved ASAP so that we can move forward. Our city can look better. We look terrible out here. The baddest band in the land, we can't even walk down our Euclid Avenue because it got holes in it. If you can't do what you need to be done, update our forces, update our fire, update everything that we need done. Because like I said, the paperwork shows that we are in default. A fire truck, a EMS squad, a police department. Is a fraudulent city sitting here in chaos. And if you can't get along with each other, get our city looking right there, sit down and talk about it first, because it look a mess out here. Chuck holes in our street from one end to the other. Half streets done. The kids can't even walk to school because there's no street, no crossing guards. And then you sit up here and argue like 5-year-old children.
Are you okay? You okay? Yeah, I'm on the computer. I should be doing about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Yes, Madam Gowdy, may I be recognized, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Ernest.
No apologies needed. I just want to say you have done a great job tonight. To my colleagues, Mr. Mayor, Madam Law Director, Mr. Finance Director, and most importantly,
Hello? Did he go out?
Counselor Smith? I think he did.
Yeah, I don't hear nothing. If he's out, Madam Clerk, can I adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, we need a motion to
Yeah,
adjourn
I move that we adjourn the meeting,
the public hearing.
the public hearing. Okay.
I have to pass the gavel back
Excuse
to,
me.
let's give him 30 seconds real quick, and I'm gonna pass the gavel.
Counselor Smith is back.
I'm back. This is my 3-minute outro, my 5-minute outro. So it's more than 30 seconds. Now, don't do me like that after I just thanked you. Now I have 5 minutes. Again.
We was giving you 30 seconds to come back now.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you, because you've been doing an excellent job. I'm over here smiling from ear to ear.
Because it's not 30 seconds to talk.
Thank you very much. So, we are not, as elected officials, always going to get along. But we all know what's going on here. We all know about the personal hatred that's inside one's heart. I really want to thank Councilman Martin tonight. He hit a couple nails right on the head. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask. For those who wondering, I am the former chairperson of the Finance Committee. I know for a fact that in the finance report comes out every month is public record. The majority of these questions are in that report. All we have to do is read it. I know for a fact that my colleagues are smart. So I believe that they read every bit, some just go in the direction that they go. There's nothing wrong with holding all of us, but there's nothing wrong with holding the mayor and the administration accountable. Yes, we want to see every contract. Yes, we want to see where every dime is being spent, but there's a way to do it. all the personal attacks, all of the jumping in when another one is trying to speak, all of this zeroing out all the line items so that people can't have their health, interest, rights, and needs served. It's ridiculous because of the personal vendettas and personal wars. A lot of you know I'm not your regular quote unquote politician, so I'm gonna tell it like I see it. We need to cut out all of the self-serving acts. As Councilman Austin stated, most of this situation that's going on now, I myself too, I'm tired of hearing counsel this, counsel that. It's not counsel, it's one person's crusade to do whatever she is trying to do. I beg of the residents not only to just look at this meeting, but do a background check. Go on YouTube, look at the meetings. Judge for yourself what's going on, period. This meeting tells a lot. We have a so-called quote unquote council president who's not willing to sit and meet down with the mayor. If this mayor was Donald Trump, a quote unquote council president should be meeting with this mayor and hash out. Listen, you don't have to hash out you don't have to roast marshmallows with each other. But for the greater good of the health, interest, rights, and needs of the people, you have to meet and settle some differences. That's it for now.
Mr. Smith, I call a foul on the play that you just announced.
Mr. Irby, you are
Devin
recognized.
Branch sat up there and went for our seats as you and your colleagues sat up there and tried to rule against us. So I'm gonna call a foul on the play. It ain't fair how you done us either. So since we gonna talk about the people and the problem, let's bring it to the front. You sat on a seat that you were not supposed to be on, and then to sit here and try to portray it like it was, you're not fair to the interest, rights, needs of people, because I was the one who started you on that seat. So before you get too far out there, remember how the ball falls, because you're the one throwing a foul on the play. So do it right. I'll step out.
Let me say this real respectfully and calm.
Councilor Smith, you have been recognized.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Gotti. Let me say this very calm. Calvin Irby, 216-925-0957. I see you almost every day at the gas station. I can meet you at the gas station right now, and we can hash out any differences. Listen, once again, you bring up something from 5 years ago that, oh yeah, okay, let's have this conversation. That was illegal anyway, what was going on 5 years ago. And we already had this talk. So I don't know who you think I am, or I don't know what's going on tonight. You think you
can bring Nate Martin with you. You can bring Nate with you on this whole entire thing. You can make the phone call. You know my number. It didn't change.
No.
The position won't change.
I'll be at your gas station.
There's no problem.
Order.
Calvin Irby.
Enough. That's enough of this. That's enough.
Calvin Irby. I'll be at Shaw gas station in 5 minutes so we can discuss anything we have to discuss. That's how this councilman does it.
Put it in the memo and mail it to me. That's how we'll do it. When I feel like answering, I will.
Now,
good night.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I'm not your regular. I'm not your regular. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there.
Illegal.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Let me
I'm on my way. I'm on my way, good sir.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to adjourn on the floor?
I move that we adjourn the meeting, please.
You moved that earlier. Clerk, is there a motion on the floor?
We need a second to adjourn the public meeting. Public hearing, excuse me.
Going back to the regular meeting.
I'm gonna pass the gavel so I can second it. Pass the gavel back to President Stevens. And I second the motion. And I apologize to all the residents. I really do.
So we'll close out one part of the meeting. Do we return to the agenda and continue?
Mr. Austin, please let the clerk finish.
Can I call the roll? Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
No, it should say all in favor.
No, we're not closing out the meeting. We're closing out the public hearing.
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith. Counselor
He at
Smith.
the gas station.
Can we get a motion to open the regular council meeting?
I move that we open the regular council meeting for February 9th. That we go open it back up.
Is there a second?
Second.
Counselor Stevenson,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith.
Yay.
We have remarks and requests of the public.
I think we pretty much had remarks of the public and the council.
Yeah,
I think we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
We have
I move that we adjourn the regular council meeting.
I did have a
February
public service
9th.
announcement. Councilman, Council President,
Wait, the mayor has something.
I'll be real quick. I'd like to thank all the residents for coming on. We are hosting a teletown hall this Thursday as a series of teletown halls to be a state of the city. Now that we're in COVID, we gotta kind of have to adjust to that. So for those of you who aren't on the automatic call, we are going to be provided with a dial-in number so that you can listen to the teletown hall meeting. We will go over the recent article about the jail. We will go over the city's finances, as well as answer any questions that residents have. So please join us this Thursday at 6:30. You are all invited. And Council Vice President, you did run an exceptional meeting tonight. I apologize to you if I was out of line. I get a bit anxious at my job and I want to provide quality of life to the residents of the city. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting with the Council President at her convenience.
Is the council going to be given information to come to the town hall meetings? Because in the past, the council has not received the information. Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry if that hasn't happened. Yes, and I'm hoping to get a dial-in number tomorrow so that I can distribute to all of the employees, to the 3 branches of government, and put up online so that anyone who wants to dial in can dial in. That way you don't have to wait until they call you or you're on. And as some people have said, they've been kicked off for one reason or another and couldn't get back into the meeting. So we are trying to get a dial-in number. I'll provide that tomorrow. Yes, thank you.
There any other discussion? Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Thank you to
All in
residents.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Good night. Thank you all.
Thank you for coming.
Meeting is
See you next
adjourned.
time.
The meeting is adjourned at 8:03 p.m.
What up with it? How you? All right. I'm on Sean Euclid for any residents that